Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new video for you guys today. So for anybody that's new to the channel, a couple months ago I started reacting to some videos from our creator named Georgia Doe. She's an amazing creator. She's a psychotherapist who basically uses her expertise to psychoanalyze and break down the mental states of different fictional characters. I started doing these because I've noticed that sometimes when it comes to professionals, there's always a disconnect where people are like, you don't know me, you don't know my story, you don't know what I've been through, how could you possibly help me? Well, me, I'm just a normal dude, 34 years old. I am not a professional, but I have been through a lot. I've dealt with trauma, I've dealt with recovery, I've been to war, I've had loved ones victimized, like, I've seen a lot. And in these videos, as she talks about these characters, I've kind of given my takes on them, as well as some of my experiences. And I hope in doing videos like this, it actually helps some of my viewers. I've gotten some pretty great responses on some of them, some not so great here and there, but that's neither here nor there. But today we're checking out her video on the newest episode of Helluva. I really want to do this one, even though her video came out 2 weeks ago, because I had a pretty, I guess, controversial take about the episode when it came to Blitz and Stolas. When Stolas came out about his feelings for Blitz, I understood that took a whole lot of strength, and I get where Stolas is coming from. But when Blitz automatically reacted the way he did, I was really upset with the way Stolas received it. I know Stolas was hurt because he was being genuine, and Blitzo basically insulted him. But I felt like Stolas was almost kind of intolerant and unsympathetic to the way Blitz was feeling and what was going on with Blitz. So it legitimately bothered me. But we'll talk about that as we get into it, because I know I want to see what she actually says about it. So I hope you guys enjoy this kind of video. Drop a like if you do, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's jump in, because I have talked too much.
Here we have it, full moon, it's finally
All
out.
right.
Try to put out my video as quickly as possible.
For anybody that hasn't checked out this creator, again, it's Georgia Doe. She cosplays the character she tends to talk about in her videos. She's very well read, very well spoken, and I love watching her videos. Let's go.
The most heartbreaking episode for me. We are all...
I should mention that I haven't actually watched this video from her. I've kind of waited because I knew I wanted to eventually react to it.
Unfortunately, kind of driven by all of our hurts, our defense mechanisms, the issues that we're
Gotta
dealing with.
shrink this just a little bit.
Probably get into who you are and why. So let's take a look at Stolas and Blitz and go through what went wrong and why.
For my own health, I'll remind myself that when I see him, I know that it won't feel so tough.
So sweet. There is something so endearing about Stolas and how he really wears his heart on his sleeve and discusses with him how he's feeling. Our inner dialogue is so important. The way that we speak to ourselves inside of our head and calm down our anxieties or increase them depending on the words that we say.
I'll believe.
I know she's probably going to go into it later, but I've noticed this since the very beginning of Helluva, is how Blitz kind of keeps their relationship business as usual. It's, the sex for the book. And while Stolas has gotten more and more attached to Blitz, he never takes the chance to tell Blitz how he feels. And that's why they've been messing around for so long. In this situation, it comes so far from left field for Blitz. And Stolas is working himself up to it. I just wonder what would happen if Stolas had said something sooner. Instead of just Blitz coming up thinking it's going to be business as usual, and Stolas just like, all right, moving on.
Him and not the voice that says I'm not enough.
And that part of the inner voice and...
That's where I was going with that. The fear of rejection. That's what it was. The fear of rejection kept Stolas from ever telling Blitz how he really feels.
Hearing that we're not enough for people in that belief system, and him looking at the reflection in the water and how that's so distorted is really true. We often do that. And the problem is that if we keep on saying these negative or cruel or even abusive words to ourselves, we believe that. The image that is distorted becomes the image that we see no matter what, and that colors everything around us and all of the choices that we make because of that.
No need for an arrangement. It can just be him and me. I'll set us free. How perfect it could be when I see him tonight.
I also think that Osmodius's words planted a seed inside of Stolas, how that should deal with consent.
I don't with that artificial lust shouldn't be about force. It's an art to be earned.
And I think that changed I
forgot it gets dirty in there.
On how the power dynamic is so unequitable, and he doesn't want that.
All right. It's been a while since he begged for attention. Are we okay?
That whole thing with Stolas, I get. Feeling like somebody's only with you because they're getting something from you. And it's just, it puts the doubt in your mind so easy. I one time had a girl I was with, and I was really unhappy. And I stayed with her because, you know, we had our apartment together. And she eventually left me, and it made my life really, really hard. So this is, I guess, from the other side. But then I've also been the person, you know, somebody stayed with because they were getting something from me. Nobody wants that tether. Nobody wants you to be with them out of necessity, not because you actually want to be with them, because that leads to so many complications in the future.
Can't really say. I'm getting by avoiding his questions. So complicated. I hate when it's complicated. Why do I always end up in situations that are complicated?
He avoids the things that are too uncomfortable. And Blitz often uses sexuality or diversion as a defense
or comedy
to keep him from being in very deep relationships. Because the underlying belief for Blitz is that he's not good enough, and no one would want him for who he is underneath that.
Oh, that hit so close to home. Oh my God. I didn't expect that to come out of her. I did not expect that to come out of her mouth. I live that to this day. I've been with my fiance for years, and I still have so many self-confidence issues when it comes to our relationship. I tell her all the time that she's amazing, and I don't ever feel like I'm good enough. And I'm so lucky that she's with me. But I've lived like that my whole life.
And so he offers all of these other things because he thinks that that's all that he's worth. See how all of our inner reflections then end up polluting all of the other things that are around us and change the way that we react to them. And then unfortunately it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because we believe that that's what it becomes.
Here I go again, getting in my head, so I'll focus on the sexy stuff instead. When I see...
Exactly. That's what he does. He goes to the areas that he feels control, that he feels like he's good at and he can handle, instead of the things that are really intimate and deep and, for him, scary. But the problem is that the more that we avoid something, the greater that monster becomes. Each time we avoid it, we feel safe, and then we want to avoid it even more. So we're actually feeding that monster that we don't want to deal with. How do you get better at something? Practice. Practicing avoidance increases anxiety and then makes you avoid things even more. And why do we do this? A lot of times we're not even aware. We're not even aware that we're avoiding it. We make up these lies inside of our head. Oh, it's better. This is easier. This is all he wants. And we're not even aware. So if you're not even aware, there's no chance that you're even going to change your behavior, because not only is that natural and normal for you then, you think that that's okay. You don't understand that you're even causing all these issues. But even if we know it, it is easier to sabotage a relationship and say to yourself that the reason this relationship has been ruined is because of me, than the relationship going awry when I tried everything that I could and I put myself out there, and then I'm crushed because it didn't work out and they actually don't like the real me. And so the cost becomes greater. So it's easier to put out a version of ourselves that isn't really true, that gets rejected, than our true self.
That's a double-edged sword. I know that we're talking about a whole different situation here, but then there's also people who relationships end and they blame the other person instead of fixing their own problems. But that's a whole nother topic altogether. Like, I guess it's like hard. Like, would you rather put yourself out there and get rejected, or stay in a relationship living a lie? A lot of people go with the safe option.
See him, I'm gonna do that thing he likes.
Just like that this underwear has like danger zone written on it.
I will change things. I'll just bring the rope and spice. God,
Is Stolas looking for his anti-anxiety medication? Is that what he's out of? And he's so nervous because of that? Just a little tiny note. Especially if you're doing something that's an SSRI, you really should not miss dosages.
got a nice arrangement, and it's working out just fine. We'll keep it light.
Looney.
Die alone if this goes bad when I see him tonight.
And both of them have that fear of being alone, being rejected, and feeling lonely. The interesting part about loneliness is that sometimes you can be in a room filled with people and feel alone, and sometimes you can be with yourself and feel like others are around you. It really doesn't have to do with the situation that is outside, but the situation that's on the inside.
Am I doing something I can't take back? Relax. Would he want me if he was free? We're fine. If he's only here as a prisoner, what kind of monster does that make me?
He loves
that's
him
sad.
so much that he knows that he could lose him because of this, that there is a possibility that Blitz only cares about him because he needs the book. But because of that inequity and because of his thoughts about that, he has to let him free to see if he actually cares about him for him. And so it's such a beautiful moment to do this, to risk losing someone because you love them so much that you only want it, if it can be a real, true, deep, loving relationship where both parties are equal and both parties want to be there.
He deserves the choice to stay or go, though it scares me to think what I'd lose. Can't wait to lose ourselves in nasty sex and make that bird squawk. Really must converse. Stick with what makes sense, like him sucking.
And for Blitz, it's better not even to change things because he's more avoidant. It's better to just keep things where they are than take any risks or make any change. For us, change is danger. Change is something that we don't know. And I think that also his avoidance of intimacy, because every time he's been close with someone and truly let them see who he was, he's lost them or something bad has happened. And so that's made him even more avoidant.
That reminds me of the end of season 1. Well, the original end before they came out with the extra episode later. The end of that episode where Blitz is like curled up on the couch crying after what happened at Asmodeus's club, and how Stolas tried to be caring, but Blitz pushed him away. Like, Blitz has so many defense mechanisms to keep people away because he doesn't want to end up getting hurt.
Set us free, whatever it may be, when I see him tonight.
I think that the rose is a wonderful metaphor because we're all of the beautiful parts, the parts that smell good, but also all of the thorns. Just my own thoughts on roses. Don't clip the thorns off of them.
It's been a few months since I've been inside of his feathered. Birds started giving me more ways out of our monthly. She'd be all like, "Oh, Blitzy, I know it's the full moon tonight, but you don't have to come if you don't want to, Blitzy." So I've just been taking breaks from having to plow his feather into his fancy ass mattress.
My thoughts on the reason that Stolas has been avoiding it is because he feels like this is now transactional, and that's not what he wants. He wants more from Blitz, and so he's trying to offer him that he doesn't have to go over unless he wants to, and he's hoping that Blitz will want to and ask to. But unfortunately, it's your job to teach people what you want and how to ask for that. And so Blitz is just like, oh, because it's transactional, he feels like, oh, I don't have to pay the price for the book and I still get to keep the book. And so for him, he doesn't get what is being offered to him because his defense mechanisms are at play. There is no way that he could actually want to hang out with him if it's not about sex. He doesn't even get that.
He's getting bored of you.
What?
Yeah, man. If someone wants to see you less and less, big red flag. If they give you chances to ditch, they probably want out themselves.
Which could be the case. Like, I think that Luna is giving honest advice, but that's from her perspective because that's what she does. Often what we do is we project our own rules and the way that we handle things to others and think that everyone...
Yeah, that's a tough one. Some people don't want to be a burden either. Like in my case, I've given people so many ways of not hanging out with me, or not coming to see me, just because I don't want to feel like I'm inconveniencing them. It's kind of one of my problems where I've always been, kind of a yes man, and I just try to make things easier for everybody else. Also, funny point deposit. But getting bored of you, it can happen, but most times it's actually not that reason. You never know what's going on in somebody's life, you know what I mean?
Everyone's playing by the same rule book, that whatever we do, it must be what everyone else does. But depending on your personality type and the things that you've grown up with and your own defense mechanisms and your own way of feeling loved, your reactions to certain situations will be different. And Stolas is a complete and utter caregiver. He likes to care for people, and so he's giving these as offerings of actual gifts. Whereas Luna, which we will get into, she is the opposite to that. She is avoiding.
Luna is my favorite Hello Boss character, so if you want to see me react to her episode on Luna, which I just didn't even know she came out with until like 5 minutes before I started this recording, let me know, because I would be glad to check that out with you guys.
And also scared of getting intimate and getting close. And I think that that's why Blitz and Luna being a family makes so much sense.
Because I do that all the time.
Guess I finally got to do position 37 tonight. Don't worry though, this book ain't going nowhere if I have anything to about it.
But that plants the seed for Blitz to be able to think that Stolas may not be that interested in him. Right now, it's just about the book. Because I don't think that Blitz has really gone into his own emotions and thought about being cared for. It is so far outside of his realm of possibility that someone, especially someone so powerful as Stolas, could care about him for him. And for Blitz, he also carries a chip on his shoulder about rank and hierarchy and the way that he gets treated by other people, especially people that are high in their social ranks, that there is no way that they could look at him with admiration, or even love.
We have got these new bees.
That's beautiful, but you know, Stolas never really...
Can we all be happy that these two are finally friends again? Like, that was my favorite part of this entire scene with Fizz and Blitz, is that these two are just so cool together now.
seemed into the beads.
We have the new Dragon Driller 5000.
Oh my god, I saw that shit and my mouth dropped.
That's his speed. I will take that.
Blitz and Stolas are completely on different levels. For Blitz, he thinks that sex is going to solve everything and that that's all that he's worth. So all his mind is on a certain track. And for Stolas, it's about creating a loving relationship and feeling safe and giving him this offering. But sometimes people are talking to each other and they're speaking completely different languages. It's when you're so stuck in your own fears that you can't even hear what someone else is saying because there's a recording playing inside of your head that's saying something different. And because you're being flooded by that recording, even when someone's telling you something specific, you may not be hearing it. And that's why you want to get out of your head, pay attention to what someone else is saying, and then ask why, or what's happening, or I don't understand. I think also for Blitz, he's so rigid in his own thoughts, and often he's correct. But because of that, he doesn't even think in his own head that maybe I could be wrong. And it's a gift to think it hurts, no one likes it, but it's a gift to think to yourself that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. But for Blitz, it would hurt too much to be wrong about that and to lose someone else that he has no doubt gotten attached to.
Just to talk about what you just said, when someone's been as, I guess you could say, traumatized as Blitz, having gone through, being treated like imps are treated like trash already. Him being a failed clown in the showbiz, like getting shit on by just everybody his entire life. Someone who's been through that kind of pain becomes very cynical and forms a very, I guess, jaded opinion of the world. So you end up feeling like you know exactly how people are going to react. You know exactly what people are thinking. You know exactly how people feel about you and see you. So it's like when someone does end up hurting you, you're just like, see, I knew it. But and sometimes you end up causing the hurt by being so rigid. And it's not possible. It's hard to believe that somebody really gives a shit about you. I don't talk about this. I've never talked about this on camera. But my fiance, I said we've been together for many years, but we've split up a couple of times. At one point for 6 months, and then one time for almost a year. And both times were kind of my fault. I had talked about some issues I had with our relationship, and because of the way she reacted, I kind of pushed her away even harder. And I just thought, she was just another person that was going to leave me at first. Thankfully, I was wrong. And she kept fighting to come back into my life, and now I'm engaged to her, and I'm going to marry this woman. But it's so hard for someone who's been through so much darkness to realize that they're wrong when a light actually comes in. I know, that was cheesy. I'm sorry, that was cheesy, but I had to say it.
And for Stolas sitting there, he also speaks a different language because he's so caught up in the thoughts of love and creating this loving relationship. Even though he's someone that is in power, he doesn't see people as less than because of the difference in their rank. He's truly a sweet person that his super feeler empathy levels are just so high, which is a strength and a weakness, by the way. He doesn't even notice that Blitz could even think anything differently. He feels that every time he's kind, that he's taking it because Stolas would be able to receive it. And for Stolas, because he could receive love and care and affection from someone else, and sometimes sees it when it's not even there, and is too kind in a lot of ways, he's not even aware that Blitz is going through this. Blitz has definitely been giving him all the different signals that he thinks that this is just about sex and that he doesn't actually care about him. But he's completely unaware of that also. So they're both kind of on a different plane of existence because of that, misinterpreting what the other person is saying.
Guess what I got for us? I got lots of fun for us to play with tonight. Like this extra large candle that smells like
That face.
horny.
I was actually worried that that was going to be worse.
Look at that bad boy.
Look at his face.
Do you have my book, Blitz?
And that tone, that change. So he has that loving tone at first, then he kind of changes it to business, which I think is the first signal that Blitz went, oh my goodness, he doesn't seem to be mesmerized as he usually is, because Stolas is usually mesmerized by anything that Blitz does. But for Blitz, it's that little bit of a red flag of, uh-oh, the thing that
Something's
I feared,
wrong.
it's happening.
Right here, I always bring it. Why do you...
I need it back.
No. Hold on, Stolas. Come on. All right, I can still hold up my end of the bargain. All right, let me show you a good time tonight. You know I can.
Please don't say it like that, Blitz.
Come on.
They had this dance, this type of relationship that they've...
I will admit, seeing Stolas, his face like that, really bothered me.
both gotten themselves into, and Stolas no longer wants that. So for Blitz to be able to speak about their relationship as it just being some kind of hot sex, that's hurtful for Stolas because he wants something more. He wants the care, he wants the intimacy, he wants the openness. Stolas's wants have changed. It hurts him. It hurts him to think that this is just a transactional thing because that's his fear. A relationship used to give you what you want and you used to feel a certain way about it, but you've changed. You want something different. And so you often, and for people because they don't like change, they often go through the exact same routine because it's comfortable to them, but it's no longer feeding them the way that they used to. We're often thinking about or romanticizing or remember the way it used to be, and we may no longer feel that way anymore. And so it's really important to ask yourself, what do I need? What do I want? And how do I get that? And I think that probably for Stolas, he thought that it probably could become this on its own, but because of this power dynamic, it kind of stuck them in this place. So I think that it takes a lot of courage, and really I commend Stolas for being able to do this because it's so difficult.
All right, guys, I'm going to cut this episode off here. We're 25 minutes into this recording, and I want to separate two parts of this video. So I'm going to talk about my feelings on Stolas right now and Stolas's whole changing their dynamic. So obviously Stolas doesn't like the businessy thing about their relationship. He doesn't want Blitz to just be in his life purely for gain, purely for the book. Nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody wants that. Nobody wants somebody in their life just for sex, just for money, just for a home. Especially when you have legitimate feelings for that person. You want them to be there because they want to be with you. The amount of courage it took for Stolas to finally let his real emotions out is earth-shattering. It's horrifying. Anybody that's been on my channel for a while knows I've talked about it. When my depression got so bad that I couldn't handle my job, I couldn't handle my home life, I couldn't handle anything. Being on third shift all alone every night, I was spiraling really, really bad. And because of some issues with my daughter, we have a family therapist supposed to, help improve our relationship as a family. And there was one session where I just broke down. I couldn't talk because I did majority of the housework. I did all the cooking. I cooked every day. My routine was wake up, try to work out, try to get something done, whether it be a YouTube video or exercise or stuff around the house. Cook dinner. Try to spend time with my family. A lot of times I didn't get to, just to go to work all night long, to come home, go to sleep, do it all over again. And it just got so bad, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to make my kids upset. I didn't want to make my fiance upset. I internalized everything. And it took so much to finally come out and let it out. But until you do that, nothing's going to change. And that's what Stolas had to go through. Stolas had to bite the bullet, take the risk, and tell Blitz how he really felt in order to change their dynamic. And while we know, in hindsight, that it didn't work out the way he had wanted, there is still a chance for that relationship to be saved. And I just applaud the character development of Stolas and the writing that they put into this episode. And obviously, Georgia sees it too. So I love Stolas and I love what they did with him in this episode. But now, if you guys want to hear my thoughts on Blitz and see the rest of this episode with me, come back tomorrow where I'll be putting part 2 of this video. And believe me, I have a lot to say about Blitz, especially that final scene of the episode. That final scene of the episode is really, really important to me. So if you guys enjoyed me talking in this one, please come back tomorrow for the next episode. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links will be down below. If you guys want to check out Georgia Doe and watch her video without my pause and without my commentary, link to the original video will be down below. Support her. She is an amazing content creator and an amazing psychotherapist, and you can learn a lot from her videos. But that is it from me, and I'll catch you guys on this video. Later.